Hi everyone, today we will discuss a PM interview question with you, and the question is doing a root cause analysis. So Zomato has seen a 10% drop in the engagement of user generated content on the platform, and you have to diagnose this issue. So let's get started. But before jumping onto the solution, find out our ebook on real PM interview question with detailed solution, which will help you in the PM interview preparation. Now back to the question. So as usual, you should pause the video and think about the question on your own before watching the video. I hope you have given a thought to this. First, let's understand the question because the question is open-ended and we have to first understand and define the scope of the problem. Those who don't know about Zomato, Zomato is an Indian restaurant aggregator and food delivery company. Here you can book a table in a restaurant, order your favorite food or grocery online. It's like Uber Eats or DoorDash in the foreign countries. I hope now you have got some sense of what Zomato is. So, as in question, it is given that engagement on the user generated content on the platform has gone down by 10%, right? So, the first question which we need to clarify is what does it mean by user generated content for Zomato? So user generated content for Zomato can be rating and reviews which you give on the platform. It can also be the photos which you contribute while giving rating and reviews, right? So let's assume that the user generated content for this question is rating and reviews which you give after dining in a particular restaurant. The second important question which we need to clarify is what does it mean by engagement? Let's assume that doing like and dislike or sharing the reviews with others or commenting on the reviews defined as an engagement here. So number of like, dislike, share, comments on the restaurant review have reduced by 10% on the platform. The third question which we need to clarify is about the time frame and the nature of the drop. Is it across the platform or across the devices? Let's assume that the drop is across the platform and devices and it is a gradual drop from last 1 month. The final question which we can clarify is whether this 10% drop is seen across user cohort, geography, category and cuisine or it is something specific because there are different category of restaurant on Zomato. There are different cuisine of restaurant on Zomato, right? So is this drop seen across different category or cohort or cuisine, or it is something very specific to particular category or particular cuisine? So let's assume that the drop is across the user cohort and cuisine category, right? I think we have got a good idea about the question, but do let me know in the comment section if some part of the question is still unclear. It will help all of us to develop our thinking process. Now it is time to summarize whatever we have discussed till now. So Zomato has seen a 10% decrease in the like dislike share on the dining reviews across the platform, devices, restaurant, geography, and cuisine. And we need to find the root cause, right? This is the exact problem which we are trying to solve here. Before jumping into diagnosing the problem, first let's understand the strategic importance of rating and reviews. So rating and reviews for a restaurant Zomato platform act like a trust marker and it eases up the decision making for the user on the platform. Also, it drives the conversion because the restaurant which have rating and reviews have better chance to get converted than the ones which don't. In an interview, it is always better to know about the strategy behind any initiative or the feature. Now, what we will do, we will consider the potential factors that can be held to account for the drop in the engagement. And the factors can be related to the system related factors, internal factors, external factors. Right. In the system related factor, there can be factors related to the metric definition like have we changed the way we are calculating the metric? Let's assume that there is no such change in the metric definition. The second one can be related to the data pipeline. That means the data source which is powering the metric is at fault or the pipeline is broken. Let's assume that there is no such condition here. The third thing can be incorrect event and instrumentation. By events and instrumentation, what I mean is when you make some feature, you always configure some events. For example, when you hit the like button on the rating and reviews, a click event will be fired based on which you will calculate the metrics. So it might happen that in some app session, the events are not at all triggering or some event are unnecessarily triggering. This may also change your metrics value. Let's assume that there is nothing like this happening in this case. The fourth can be some service related issue which is causing some type of timeout or on the rating and review section. This is highly unlikely to be the issue because if that is the case, the metric would have dropped abruptly and honestly it is hard to bypass all the regression testing which we generally do. So let's assume that there is no such issue related to this and this means that system is also working fine. Now we are sorted from the system related issue. Now let's go to the external factor. In the external factor, a bunch of factor can cause this change. For example, if some competitor like Swiggy has also launched a similar dining related feature, where you can see the menu reviews, it can happen that the overall traffic coming to the rating and review section is dropping, right? Which will eventually drop in the engagement as well. Or it might be the reason that people are now going to the social media or any food influencer video for getting the reviews about the restaurant. This might also cause overall traffic coming to this section get reduced. Now you are able to relate that, right? There might be bunch of other external reasons as well, but for now let's assume that none of these external factors are causing this issue, and we need to think about the other factors. So now we will need to focus on the internal reasons which can cause this issue. So it might happen that we have made some changes to the rating and review section, like adding some more functionality or making some UI changes or making some changes related to the representation of the section in some of the other form, which can also cause this kind of issue. It may also happen that some of the adjacent or the horizontal team is running some experiment which is causing this drop. So it is always better to know what other related feature can cause this drop as well, right? Let's assume that some changes have been made and we need to think about the potential changes which can cause this issue. So now we will have to see the entire funnel. So let's start with the funnel journey. So user first opens the app and start discovering. There are different ways in which user can discover on Zomato. Also, it depends on the intent of the user. For example, someone who is high in intent will use search, but someone who is in the intent of browsing will use the home page. So what are the potential sources through which user discover on the platform? It can be search, it can be home page, it can be also notification as well, right? Since we are thinking about the rating and reviews for the dining, I will go in that section only. So user can search for restaurant or the dishes. Depending on the search, the user will land either on the restaurant list page or restaurant detail page. The user can also click on the dining section in the bottom nav and go to the dining page, which has lot of bunch of collection, recommendation and infinite scroll, where the user can click and go to the restaurant detail page. From the restaurant detail page, he can scroll more and go to the rating and review section. In that section also, he can go deeper into the rating and reviews detail page, and from there he can do some kind of interaction like and dislike, commenting on the rating and reviews. I hope whatever the image we are presenting here, the funnel is kind of very clear. That is where we are also attaching some of the screenshot of the app. Now let's see the metrics across the funnel to get the idea what change has happened. So for the top of the funnel, we will see daily active user and number of session per user. If that is in check, then there is no issue at the top of the funnel. Let's assume that both of these metrics are looking fine. After that, we will see search session, number of searches per session, or search query abandonment rate. What does it mean by search query abandonment rate? Out of all the searches which user is firing, they are not doing anything on the result. They are just abandoning the search and doing the search again. That is abandoned query. All these metric will tell if there is an issue in the search funnel or the understanding of the search is broken on the platform. It may happen that because some of the people are using some regional languages and we are not able to understand that. That can broke our search funnel. But let's assume that all of these metrics are in check and our search funnel is looking healthy. We will also see the CTR of the dining section on the bottom nav. Let's assume that all of these are looking fine as well. After that, user may land on the restaurant list page or dining homepage. There we need to see the traffic on the dining homepage session, recommendation click-through rate, recommendation impression, and also the infinite scroll, impression and CTR. All of these we need to check. And for particularly restaurant list page, we will see list page session, list page to detail page conversion. Let's assume that all of these metrics are also in check. Let's deep dive more into the funnel. We'll see restaurant detail page session, number of impression of review section, CTR on see all reviews button. Let's assume that everything is in check. That means people are going into the review section as well as going into the review detail section as well. In the review detail section, we will see number of impression of all the reviews. Let's assume that number of impression of the reviews has fallen. That's mean that we had made some changes due to which people are coming till the review detail section, but not seeing the number of reviews which they were doing before. And that is why they are not interacting much. So the engagement is also fallen. So we have identified that people are not seeing as many reviews as they were doing before. So we need to discover why that is the case. So why there can be the drop? There can be multiple such reasons due to which there can be a drop. The first thing can happen is adoption of the search bar at the top. So the adoption of search bar has increased. That means people are now searching for particular reviews and are not exploring the reviews by scrolling further. Earlier they were scrolling more, but now because due to the adoption of this search bar has increased, this will reduce the impression and eventually the engagement. But this is not likely the case because this is not the change we have made. The second can be we have introduced some kind of pill filters where the order of the pills is also personalized and adoption of this pill filter is kind of increasing. That means that people are now just seeing the rating and reviews which matter most to them by tapping on some of the pills and not scrolling as more reviews as they were doing before, which can also decrease the engagement. And the third reason can be the ranking of the reviews are personalized. So here, based on the attribute which matter most to you, the most appropriate review will come at the top and the user will be able to get the information which he wanted without much exploring the reviews. These can be the potential changes we might have done. So there can be other changes as well which might lead to the engagement in the drop. So yes, we have introduced the pill filter at the top. People are using the pill filters more. The adoption of pill filter on the review details section has increased. So earlier people were exploring more and more reviews and seeing on an average about 10 to 15 reviews. But now when we introduce the pill filter, they are seeing the reviews which matter most to them. And the impression of those reviews has come down to from 10 to 15 to 4 or 5, due to which the engagement is also dropped. So the next important thing is to see what we should do in this case, because this feature looks like a very good feature which is improving the user experience, but on the other side reducing some kind of engagement. So if we have to make the decision, should we go ahead with this feature or we should roll back this feature? We will look at the overall platform goodness and other guardrail metric to decide if we should go ahead with this or should we roll back this feature. Also, we will do some kind of user research to get the insight about the feature. Accordingly, we'll decide whether to go ahead with feature or not. I hope you have learned something new from this video. I will meet you into the next one. Till then, keep learning and keep watching.